This video will focus on the creation and management of the drainage project. First, we'll take a look at the configuration variables that we have for drainage and utilities. I'll start with the pseudoseed file. This variable is going to specify the specific DGN library files that define the hydraulic seed data for drainage. These hydraulic settings are going to be copied from the pseudoseed file DGNlib to the active DGN when a utility project is created. The next variable is the pseudoseed model, and this is going to go along with that first variable. This is just going to specify the model within the preceding seed file that contains the hydraulic seed data. The next set of variables is going to be the pseuseed file. This is going to specify the specific DGN library files that define the hydraulic seed data for utilities. And like the pseudoseed file, it's going to copy that information from the DGNlib to the active DGN when the utility project is created. Additionally, we have the pseuseed model, which is going to specify that model in that DGNlib that contains the hydraulic seed data. So this is how you can specify two different DGNlibs, one for drainage and one for utilities. If you choose to put them in the same DGNlib, you still need to define each one of those configuration variables, but you would just use the same file name. Then we also have the civil subsurface filters DGNlib list. This is going to point to the DGNlib file that stores the utility filters. These filters are then going to be loaded in utility filters in the Open Road Standards tab in the Explorer and inside of the Filter Manager. And lastly, we have the pseudo use hasted conduits. This is either going to be enabled or disabled, so it's either going to be equal to 1 or 0. If we have it enabled, equal to 1, the conduit sizes for the hydraulic, storm and sanitary conduits are going to be read from the data inside of the hydraulic prototype. So that means it could point to a conduit catalog or be user defined. If we're disabling that variable, that's going to mean that the conduit sizes for hydraulic, storm and sanitary conduits instead are going to be read from a conduit table inside of the feature definition. The sizes of the non-hydraulic conduits, such as electric or communication cables, those are still going to be set in the conduit table inside of the feature definition, and that's going to be regardless of the setting for this variable, whether it's 1 or 0. Here I'm going to be creating a new file and taking a look at how the information from the drainage and utilities DGNlib gets transferred into the design file. This happens as soon as you use one of the drainage and utilities tools. It will ask if you want to create a drainage and utilities project inside of this design file. When you click yes, what it's doing is looking at the configuration and seeing how these variables were defined, finding the appropriate DGNlib, and then copying that information from the DGNlib into the active design file. To show how this information gets used, I've placed two nodes and a conduit. So let me start with a conduit. When I select this element, I'm going to see the civil properties on the left and the drainage and utilities properties on the right. So with the civil properties, if I scroll down, see this is using the stormwater concrete feature definition. So looking in my Open Road Standards section under feature definitions, I'll go and select that stormwater concrete feature definition. And it's pointing to a hydraulic prototype called circular concrete. So this is what's getting copied from the hydraulic seed file into the active file. So it's copying in all of these prototypes. And when I place this stormwater concrete feature definition, it's going to read the prototype assigned to it, circular concrete, and load all of these default settings. So for instance, this particular feature is pointing to a conduit catalog called circular concrete. And this is the list of available conduits. So I have a list of available sizes that I could place, as well as hydraulic information, what the inside diameter is, the mannings, the wall width, unit length, and other various properties. So this information from the catalog gets copied into the properties of the element itself. So if I select that conduit again, we've got these default properties coming from the prototype, and now after placement I can individually, per element, I can make changes from that default. The prototype is just providing that initial set of settings.